Hey, how's it going, everybody? If this is your first time here in my channel, my name is Victor Sanchez. Um, I've been making videos here about my home build in Chapala, Mexico. I've been sharing my experience with the build, but sometimes I get questions about certain different things, topics about here in Mexico. And today, what I would like to do is answer a question about inheritance. Recently, I had a subscriber ask me about, basically the question went like this. My grandfather passed away. He inherited the land, a piece of land to me that I would like to sell. So what do I need to do? To be honest with you, I had to get some information because it's not something I'm very familiar with. But my dad's very familiar with this topic, being that he's gone through that. And he has a lot of people that he knows that, and he's dealt with lawyers and basically lawyers and notaries that are different here in Mexico. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit of what the process is here in Mexico before I can actually tell you guys what to do. And just to understand the system here in Mexico, notary publics here have a stronger weight, which we're going to touch in just a bit. Not the same as a lawyer, but they do have a lot of legal power, a lot more so than the United States. So before you can do anything, if you're been inherited a piece of land that was given to you by your dad, your grandfather in this case, and you want to be able to resell it, there's a few things that need to happen first, and a few things that you need to understand first. So first of all, in this case, your grandfather would have had to make a testament. And the testament here in the United States is done through a notary public, which like I said, has more weight than a notary public in the United States. The testament has to be specific that the property was left in your name or in the name of the person who's saying that the property is from. When a testament's filled here in Mexico, it's a really legal document, more so than I would say a notary public can have in the United States. The testament actually goes to 3 different places. One is for you, the copy, so the grandfather would have a copy. And then the state requires a copy, and then the nation requires a copy. So when a testament's done, it has to go through the 3 branches in order to be completely validated. And that's why a notary public has to process this. Okay, so let's say everything's square and your grandfather did inherit you the land and it's in the testament. It's validated, okay? I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit of 2 different or 3 different avenues because there's a couple of things that could happen that are watching this video and might have curiosity. So if your grandfather did inherit you the piece of land, then, and if you are essentially a foreigner, let's say you're not Mexican born, you still have to go through the whole process of validating it through the lawyer. So the lawyer validates it to you, gives it to you. Okay, now you're the sole owner. You still have to be able to pass that to your name, basically, register to your name in order for you to sell it, that property. In that case, you still have to go through all the regular processes that anybody would have to do to buy a piece of land, but you wouldn't have to actually pay for it. And right here, it's called escriturado. Tienes que escriturar, where you have to file your paperwork or go through basically escrow process, per se, to put it in your name, the legal process of it. So, and that is actually cost a fee. So to put everything in your name, there's a couple of things if you're a foreigner. So I'm going to do 2 scenarios. If you're Mexican descent, you're born in the United States, you're essentially a foreigner, even though if you're Mexican descent or Latin descent, okay? All right, so you are Latin descent, let's say you're Mexican descent, just for sake of argument. And now this property is yours, you still have to go through the process of legalization. So you have to go to the Department of External Affairs. Basically, it's a department here that you have to get a permission to be able to buy the land as a foreigner. That could cost you a fee just to process that. It's not that much. And then you have to now then go to the notary to transfer everything that your grandfather gave you in order for it to be your property before you can even try to actually sell. Okay, that process, depending on the notary, but typically it would cost $3,500 or $1,500 in order to do that. Okay, so that's why sometimes a lot of people who inherited the land here, sometimes they look at the land, they're not going to sell it that much, so they just stop the process at that point. So you have to pay the notary to get it done and actually transferred to your name before you can actually try to even sell it. All right, so then you've done the process and you've completed it. Now you have it in your name. Then you can actually sell it and make a profit. That's that. If you're Mexican and you've basically lived in the United States, then it's a little bit easier. You don't have to get the permit. You just still have to put it in your name before you actually sell it. So that's pretty easy right there. Okay. The complicated thing I was going to tell you guys, if for some reason you believe you inherited something, but you don't have the documents, you would have to go through a lawyer to verify. Basically, you have to go through the National Archives to verify that you are actually who inherits the land or inherits the property, per se. So for that, if there is no will, if you don't know if they left a will, you would have to get a lawyer to look into National Archives. That's a little more complicated. Obviously, if the land is worth it and the property is worth it, it's worth going through. But it doesn't guarantee that you're actually going to be the actual new owner now. This still has to be contested. If there was no testament, it's even more complicated, because then they have to do newspaper announcements, basically publicize it that this person passed away. It's a big deal. Okay, it's like almost something like you have to do in the United States. You have to verify that you're pretty much the next person who should inherit the land. Now, if there's 4 or 5 of you, then you guys have to figure that out, which is even worse. Okay, so I'm hoping that this information was helpful to you guys. It was kind of complicated when my pops was actually explaining to me. I think I understand it. Hopefully you guys understand it. And if you guys like this video, please leave me a thumbs up. Like I said before, the way that you can thank me is by giving me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. It really helps the channel, helps the algorithm and all that. So God bless you guys. Till next time.